Let's talk about the reading and writing content for the current SAT versus the new SAT. And we're doing these sort of together because it's one big section that it's turning into, but hopefully we'll be able to understand what's going on here. So on the current SAT, as far as the reading content goes, they do test you on some obscure vocabulary. There are some words in there that you may not necessarily hear on a day-to-day basis or even in your classes. Words like ephemeral or esoteric or lugubrious, but they are tested in context, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But they are rather obscure vocabulary words. It's nothing that you usually can't figure out with context clues, or if you read very rigorously, you should be able to do just fine. But the vocabulary words tend to be more obscure than what you would be used to in your everyday school readings or speech that you when you talk to your friends, etc. On the new SAT, they're going to test you on more relevant vocabulary. It's still tested in context, and we'll go over that in a second, but it's slightly more relevant vocabulary. So you may be tested on words like obligation or synthesis, and that's a good thing because you no longer have to read through large lists of words or try to guess what the top 50 or top 200 words are that are tested on the SAT or anything like that. You just have to understand more relevant vocabulary words, things that you would come across in your day-to-day school readings or things that you talk about with your friends, etc. But both of them are tested in context, and what I mean by that is they want you to understand the meaning of the word within the context of a sentence or within the context of a particular circumstance. So let's look at an example of this. Take the word pedestrian. The word pedestrian, we usually think that it means like a person that's walking. So if I have a person that's kind of walking across the street, I hope I draw this correctly. So this person is walking across the street, and we normally think of this person as a pedestrian. However, if I said the following sentence, "Oh, I went to class today and we had a new teacher and that teacher was so pedestrian." In that sense, the word pedestrian doesn't mean someone that walks anymore. It means boring or dull or mundane. So the meaning of the word can change based on the context in which it's used. And that's what the SAT is going to test you on. It still does the exact same thing. The current version does the same thing. The new version won't be much different. It'll still test you in context. It's just the type of vocabulary, the type of words, the category of words is going to be more relevant than it used to be. Currently on the SAT, you have reading comprehension, which is very standard. They get you to read a passage, answer a bunch of questions on the passage, read another passage, answer a bunch of questions on that passage, rinse and repeat. And they ask you about all kinds of things, author's purpose, why was this passage written, they'll ask you to find facts in the passage, what did John do on Wednesday, why was Susie feeling sad, those kinds of things. On the new version of the SAT, you're still going to have reading comprehension, but now there's going to be a lot more focus on evidence-based reading comprehension. So not only will you have to identify why Susie was feeling sad, you'll also have to identify where in the passage did you figure out why Susie was feeling sad. And this allows them to create something called dependent and referential questions. So question 1 will ask you, why was Susie feeling sad? And question 2 will ask you, what line in the passage is the best evidence for the answer to the previous question. So if you answered the first question incorrectly, you'll probably be looking for the wrong answer on the next question. So you have to be really careful on this one, because if you answer the first one incorrectly, chances are you'll probably answer the second one incorrectly, unless you're just guessing on both of them and you get really lucky. So it is getting a little more involved. You'll have to do a lot more focused reading and understand, okay, this is where I found my answer. That's going to be a lot more important on the new version of the SAT.